Every time you take a step, you feel insecure, as if you might stumble and fall at any moment. Maybe you feel discomfort in your knees or lower back, and that's why you bend over, or maybe you can't decide to leave the house. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people over the age of 65 live in fear of falling in the street, in the bathroom, or even out of bed. You may not know it, but a few simple changes to your walking technique will significantly reduce this risk. All you have to do is guide your body in the right direction. You don't need any difficult exercises or complicated equipment. About 1/3 of people over the age of 65 fall at least once a year. This is not always a simple fear. It can lead to fractures, complicated surgeries, prolonged hospital stays, and sometimes complete loss of mobility. Also, we must not forget the high emotional costs. After a fall, people often experience anxiety, insecurity. They feel shame because they feel more vulnerable, and anger because they have to rely on others to do things that previously seemed easy. A single fall is enough to trigger a series of restrictions. The person stops walking in their neighborhood, she avoids going to the market, cancels plans with friends, and this isolation, instead of protecting her, eventually weakens her further and increases her anxieties. Most people do not readily acknowledge that not all falls are natural events. Many of these are predictable and, more importantly, preventable. Condemning these things is not just about bad luck or age. Each fall often reveals certain patterns in the way we move, our environment, or even our own thinking. Have you ever seen someone suddenly lose their balance during a quick turn, for example? Or someone walking with their eyes on the ground, their arms outstretched to the sides, as if they were about to strike a blow? These signals indicate that there is a problem in the body. As they accumulate, these little things start to act like real traps. But there's good news. If you teach your body to move safely, it will reorganize itself. What's more, the body learns surprisingly quickly. You may wonder why the number of falls and slips has increased over the years. One important factor is the loss of muscle mass, which naturally accelerates after the age of 60. The legs no longer provide reliable support to the body, and the stabilizing muscles, which are crucial for standing on any surface, gradually diminish. Any imbalance increases risk as your strength decreases. In addition, the center of gravity shifts slightly but significantly. The spine curves, the head leans forward, and the shoulders drop. All of this changes the weight distribution in the body. The body leans forward instead of standing upright. Even a moment of inattention or an uneven surface is enough to cause a stumble. Another element is fear itself, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When there is a fear of falling, our brain tells us that we should walk upright, not swing our arms, and take small steps as if every inch of us were unsteady. This does not increase balance, but rather makes the body stiffer and, ironically, more likely to slip or trip. Of course, slowed reflexes and impaired vision also make it difficult to react quickly to unexpected situations. This can include situations with obstacles, improper use of canes or walkers, and lack of care for shoes. But the most important element is to be aware that our body's response to time is determined not by age, but by its tendency to fall. And we can arrange that too. Driving on wet roads requires different adjustments. Do not turn the steering wheel quickly, do not stop suddenly, take turns carefully. In fact, the body experiences something similar. Daily life becomes less dangerous when we change our posture and find ideal ways of walking, arm movements, and weight distribution. The story of 77-year-old Jadwiga illustrates this wonderfully. Jadwiga lived alone in her apartment for over 30 years without ever having an accident. She went for a walk every morning and loved taking care of the flowers on her balcony. But one day, when she went into the kitchen to boil water, she made a wrong move, slipped, stubbed her ankle, and hit her hip hard. When he was discharged from the hospital, he could not calm down. Anxious thoughts had occupied his mind for the 2 weeks he had spent in the hospital. He began to walk with a stoop, his every movement seemed dangerous, and he even began to stray from his formerly beloved hobby. His children advised him to play sports, but his anxiety was stronger than his desire to get better. Finally, physiotherapist Lucia realized that the real problem was not muscle weakness but the way Dona Jadwiga used her body. The secret lay in learning to walk. They started with short but firm steps, trying to get their heels on the ground first, then their midfoot, and then their toes on the ground. They tried to look straight ahead and relax their shoulders, and also did balance and posture correction exercises. A few months later, Dona Jadwiga walked down the hallway of her house as confidently as before. Soon he went to the bakery alone, and 6 months later he was walking around the square as if he had never fallen. His favorite quote was, "It wasn't strength that saved me, it was technique." These kinds of stories are not isolated cases. Many people regain their independence in the same way by learning to better control their movements. Now turn around. Before you become confident with your walk, consider how you walk. Have you started paying attention to your walk lately? Are you sure you're not dragging your feet? Have you noticed your body making any sharp turns? Do you often look down for fear of stumbling? Are you holding on to furniture or walls? All of this movement can cause you to lose your balance without realizing it. Answer the following questions honestly to help you figure this out. Do you drag your feet instead of lifting them with each step? Do you walk with your head down, a lumbering gait? Are your arms immobile and your shoulders always hunched forward? Are your strides so short that it feels like you're barely moving? Do you lean on furniture at home to avoid falling? If you answered yes to 2 or more of these questions, your walking may be unintentionally putting you at risk. Most people who want to be mindful take stances that make the problem worse. They bow their heads, twist their bodies, take small steps, and avoid using their hands, thinking it will help them be more balanced. However, with this behavior, the center of gravity changes and the muscles cannot work in a balanced way. Everything becomes rigid and worse, this fear increases. We walk more nervously and run the risk of losing our balance. The good news is that it is possible to stop this cycle. The body must be flexible, so a few conscious exercises are enough to learn to move again. So how can we take this step? First of all, we're not talking about good walking here, but about regaining the body's natural balance. Imagine standing as if a silk thread were being pulled from the top of your head to the ceiling. Look about 3 meters ahead of you. This will help you see ahead and not get caught up in the details that sometimes cause you to slouch. Then, expand your rib cage slightly and relax your shoulders so you can breathe more easily. As you walk, lower your arms down next to your body and swing them alternately. Your left arm should move forward as your right leg comes forward.